Yeah, it did go through. Okay, we are live. Another night of me not being able to sleep and going live. Okay. Day two of no sleep. I just finished watching an interview of the Iranian foreign minister. His name is like Abbas. I'm not even gonna, I'm not even gonna try to even pronounce the name. Okay. This man, in his best English, okay, in his very best English and on his best behavior, basically said, "Y'all, they asked the man if he was wanting and asking for a ceasefire. He said, "No. I know we're not asking for a ceasefire. I just wanted to be very clear that they America is not going their plan A didn't work. And so I'm pretty sure that the plan B is going to fall short as well." I'm like, what in the world? Now, Trump is someone who is very sensitive to any type of criticism. And dare I say, I don't even want to call it a threat because I mean, what's the point? But for him to kind of like play in this way, it just felt a little, I don't know, it kind of felt like, yeah, well, I said what I said. You know what I mean? And what you said was some bullshit. And I feel like he's trying to draw Trump out. Um, these people, and this is what a lot of people are not willing to kind of sit with, like, this is peace to the Middle East has been a thing since the beginning of time, girl. You feel what I'm saying? And this man sat up in there with his all black on and said, "We are not moved. We still have all of our processes. The people are still here. And so, what y'all not going to do is act like we're Venezuela because we're not Venezuela." That is very alarming, if we're just talking about what it looks like for in terms of just morale and how people are moving. um and if he's a leader of the military, baby, he has the position of, this war is illegal anyway. I don't care what y'all saying. You need to be talking to them and not to me. They asked about if he wanted to actually go to, would you be coming to the American soil? He said, come to American soil for what? There's plenty of bases around here. Hello? I'm like, damn. Like he was almost like arrogant. He was almost very arrogant and smug about it. Why do I have to go to American soil when there's plenty of American bases around here? He did say that he apologized to the neighboring Arabic countries, and in this interview, he's like, well, why would you even target some of these countries when you know that, it's going to be civilian war. I mean, not civilian war, but civilian casualties. He's like, yeah, well, you need to to ask those same questions to the Americans. They started it. America started it. So why are you asking me about civilian casualties? No one even cares. Since when do we care about, casualties? And he was like, and I'm only targeting those Arabic countries because I let them know, listen, this is what it is, and you're harboring Americans, and this is who is after us. So he said that he would no longer do that. And it's interesting. So I watched the interview of him speaking in English, and then I watched the interview of him speaking it in, I don't know if this is an Arabic language. I don't know if he's speaking the Persian language. I don't know what this man is speaking, but it had subtitles. And so it's interesting to watch or listen to people or have things translated, because when you hear people speak in a native tongue, they see words very differently. And so the difference when he was speaking to the American reporter or the American interviewer, as opposed to when he was speaking in his native tongue, was basically he's like, yeah, well, if Americans think that we are about to surrender, that'll be a dream that you take to the grave. Now, that's very, very, very interesting, right? And the reason why it's so interesting is because, again, like there's this language barrier. I don't want to say language barrier, but like it's a difference when words translate. You know what I mean? Like, oh, whatever, like, oh, I love you in Spanish is something else. But like, you know what I mean? Like if you ever spoke a different language or learned and studied a different language, a simple word in English sounds very different in French, and the expressions are different. So for him to say something like that, like popping it like that, um, It's unbelievable. Yeah, God bless America. And not only that, guys, I want to get into a little bit because there's been six people from America, six soldiers who have been casualties of war. Um, and 1,200 people, 1,200 reported deaths from Iran, 11 in Israel, and 6 fallen soldiers. And so, yes, God bless America because honestly and truly, if they got God bless the troops, I completely and wholeheartedly agree with this because listen, it's not like they're trying to bring the war here to the soils. It's going to be an attack on the bases. This is, the soldiers who were fallen were in Kuwait. If you've been to or know anybody, um, who are in the armed forces. Kuwait is like Guam, like nothing really is happening. Like, yeah, I'm over there in Kuwait. Like it's really nothing. And so it's really unfortunate to see that. If you guys are new here, make sure you are liking the live. Okay, make sure you are coming in and liking the live. Let's make sure the likes are reflecting the people who are pulling up. I'm Jerome Malay, the girl from Round Away, where we have culture, conversation, and community. And we talk about popular topics, hot topics in a way that helps us reshape and reframe our paradigm. And I just had a chance to watch the foreign ambassador of Iran have an interview. I watched the one with him speaking in English, and I watched the one when he was speaking in his native tongue. And so the difference that he's saying is, he's speaking directly to the neighboring Arabic states, and he's basically calling for them to accept his apologies personally. The attacks that he had been experiencing have been barbaric, which I find it so interesting how when we're talking about people in the Middle East, like barbaric is always the terminology, right? Like barbaric is the first thing that they holler, oh, they're barbaric, right? And so when he said it in the reverse, I'm like, it's crazy how they're like pretty much like describing Americans in the same way. He's like, I really feel like there's no need to even think about negotiation because every time that we're negotiating, they always end up attacking us anyway. So what's the point of you negotiating? Which, I mean, I can see why he feels that way. I would be lying if I said no, I don't get it. Um, but it's it's um it's really interesting to see how they're feeling about things now. From American reports, they're saying that the um the drone strikes have stopped or like 80%, the ballistics have dropped at least 90%. But we also know that Russia has kind of entered the chat a bit. um he said that they were providing information and intel which could track, I mean, considering the fact that you know there were some soldiers and there were some bases that were attacked and targeted. Um, so I mean that could be true, right? I didn't watch any of what Vladimir Putin had to say about it directly, but it doesn't surprise me. Would it surprise you all? No, right? It sounds like something that people would do, especially play both sides. It's not like they have a good relationship or a good standing or working relationship with Russia at all. I think that because there is a lot of controversy surrounding Americans and just world politics, geopolitics right now, it doesn't surprise me at all that Putin might be um hold on y'all. Support your girl, okay? What Russia can do is very limited. I agree with you. What Russia can do is very limited because also keep in mind that they are still involved with Ukraine. So I believe that, and this is just a belief. This is what I believe, guys. Not I didn't read this anywhere. I just think that Russia has a tendency to kind of like fall back and wait and see. But I think Russia too is a really good bluffer. Like it's a game of fucking poker, and I'm just gonna wait and see what everybody else is saying and doing. But China possibly funding, if China is funding, okay, we're talking about funding. That's the issue. And so I think for me to watch this guy with so much arrogance and flair, like, he has, the air underneath his wings when 1,200 of his, constituents or civilians have passed or, been unalive because of this war. And he's willing to be like, yeah, okay, and so what? I think that America should stop illegally bombing us, and I think that it should just be that, and whatever. And these people, not everyone, of course, naturally, right? But how can I say this? Like, there's just a cultural difference. You know how, like, where y'all at? Drop it in the chat. Y'all all are we? Is it some people from the UK in here? Which, by the way, the UK was stalling with like giving over some like jets and support in that way, but they were allowing them to use their airspace, which kind of, in my mind, like, they are saying that they're not really out openly supporting it, but it's also legitimizing some of what they're doing. So it's like, oh well, I don't think what you're doing is legitimate. China has outright said what the United States is doing is not a legitimate act of war. They should not have attacked them. They were in negotiations for them to start bombing, blah, blah, blah. And so Spain has come out and said they want nothing to do with it. They don't like that at all. They were really, really very clear on, please, not me. Iranians are dancing in the street. Okay, people have a right to be free, and he gave it to them. Never have Palestinians been so free. Now they have to decide who should be the president. Yeah, that's the thing, and this is what makes it sticky. It's not like the Iranian um regime had such a good relationship and rapport with the people, right? They were um very aggressive. They were very harsh to protesters. And I can see how it does feel like, this was an oppressive regime. But again, um, them being oppressive in the regime of how they're ruling their people had nothing to do with the agreement that we had as far as them not making nuclear weapons and their nuclear weaponry. Like if they weren't engaging in the G word, okay, the G word that ends with side, then you know, I think we don't need to be involved with how they politic. And that's just the long and short of it. That's what Trump even said. He's like, I'm not worried about if they want to be a democratic state or not. I just want them to put in a leader who's going to treat Americans well. And he said that verbatim. I don't care about them being democratic. I care about them being good and treating Americans well. Which I think to him, treating Americans well is like, you have to know that you are under my boot. And, with so many casualties already in 8 days, 1,200 people, 1,200 lives. And this is what I think is so bizarre, and I really, because when I'm looking at this stuff, I can't just look at one news source nowadays. You got to look at this, you got to look at that. I'm seeing what they're putting out from the BBC. I'm seeing what they're putting out in different areas of the world to kind of put my own pieces together. The fact that in the United States, we're talking about, oh my gosh, and we're here at the polls live on CBS Action News tonight. We're here at the gas tanks. We're just trying to see how much. It's like, y'all, I get it. Gas is going up. Like even I complained, but 1,200 people in 8 days, y'all. So to have an interview with this guy, and he's like, basically, I'm not asking for a ceasefire. I'm not asking for none of that. They came over here with this illegal war. I don't care. Blah 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 blah. And then immediately we're going into oil prices have gone up and gas prices are now $4.19 in Los Angeles. Like, yeah, but like 1,200 people are gone. And it's like, at what point are we gonna talk about like the human lives and the casualties, right? Like, how much are we going to take? Because, and I don't want to misspeak, but I'm gonna be for real. Like a lot of those people that live over there in those Middle Eastern countries, like they were primed and prepped to know that they're living in this Middle East and the Holy Land and the Holy War is coming and jihad and they have a different culture about that shit. You feel what I'm saying? Most Americans don't want to even give up their fucking Chick-fil-A on Sunday. Let's be clear. Let alone give up their lives for something that they were, you know, primed and born into. You understand what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to say in a way that's like respectful to other cultures outside of my own, but like it's been peace in the Middle East since the beginning, you know? Um I don't know. I just feel that like to instantly jump into um how much gas is going up is and it's just really bizarre to me. It really is. And I may just see things from a different perspective. Um Adam, what are you talking about? They're not open on Sunday. I know, that's the point. They're not open on Sunday, and think about how many times people are like, "Oh, I wish Chick-fil-A was open on Sunday." What are you talking about? You over here trying to get smart and be cute, and you're not even paying attention and clocking it. Yeah, rich people won't send their children, but they'll send yours. This is exactly it. And so we're going to see, like you said, we don't have to target the United States in the soil. There's plenty of bases around here. What would I go over there for? And he said it just like that. He smiled, he smirked. I want you all to watch it for yourselves so that way you can see it, okay? And you can see it. And sometimes people will do things and it's almost like they will allow you to continue to mess up and continue to make a misstep because yeah, we're into it with Iran, and Israel is into it with Iran. I don't want to say the wrong. I'll be saying it wrong when I'm listening to the reporters, this, that, and the third. And it's still setting a precedent in the world stage. There are other players that will impact this. There's going to be lasting impacts on this. Reputation is the big thing. It's going to be perception. If you're screaming and yelling, that we're the best military in the world. If we're the best military in the world, Craig, why are we on day 8, right? And I think that's what we were all expecting was like a rerun of what happened in Venezuela, right? We were all hoping to kind of see, this, that, and third, and Delta Force just pop out, and we're just going to do it and run it one good time, and that was it. But he's like you said, the systems didn't fall. The supreme leader is gone, but we're going to have somebody else in place. And right, that's the point. She was being sarcastic. Yeah, these people know. They just want to um, you know, not think about it in a real way. I don't like listen, it is what it is, guys. You and I both know if you are in America, you know that we do not want to give up our privileges. We don't want to give up our conveniences. We don't want to give up our things. And 1,200 people have perished in 8 days, technically 7. And the first thing we're yelling is the gas prices. Like, come on. Like, how much is like, what is a human life worth? Right. And I know we have to assert dominance. I know that we have to protect, our interest and everything like this, but at what cost? The real powder slap said Trump is the man. How so? What's making him the man? Because he can assert and he can assert dominance and he could just like kind of really, you know, engage in a war without going through proper channels. Um, but the whole issue is not America's war; it's Israel that's making it their war to happen. Yeah, I know that Israel has been talking about going to war with Iran for a very long time. There's always been speculation about their capability. Um, and I do know that they did have some uranium, but it was not enriched uranium. In order to make a nuke, guys, I don't know if most people know this, but it has to be enriched uranium, meaning like at least 90% purity. I think they had uranium that was 60%. And so it's like, yeah, I have this high like grade new technological like this new technology toy or whatever, right? I got a drone, but I don't have a power source to even plug it in for it to work. Right? It's like okay, I have this thing, but I don't have like there's so much that goes with it. It's not just having the uranium, right? You need carriers, you need aircraft, you need um, you know, energy, resources, study, like you need all types of things. Just because they had like and again, I think that with for instance, right? Because Iran is very close to Israel. If we thought that Mexico had nuclear capabilities and we were at it with them, real bad, I'm sure we would want to go in there too, right? And so I can see why they are on it. They are a superpower in their region of the world. And now China has opened up the trunk and low key is supporting them with weaponry allegedly and financing allegedly. Um yeah, I know. But 60 to 90 is not much. Um He's the guy, Cartman of the universe. He's a child and we're too diplomatic to stop him. Yes. It's not that different from something that happened not that long ago. Hello, people. Yeah, it's almost as if like people are so afraid to kind of say that like this is out of control, guys. Like we're getting out of control at this point. Like at what point is somebody going to knock on the door and say, "Hey, y'all, we're going to like too many people." And this is what it sounds like to me. When I saw the interview, the guy basically said, "Yeah, we don't give a damn. We can hit all of these embassies, we can hit all of these bases. We're right here in the Middle East. There's still a strong presence. We don't need to go to America to do it." He said, "Well, and if they what if they come to Iran?" He's like, "Yeah, well, let them do it. We'll be waiting for it." And there are other people who want to attack America, not just Russia, not just Israel. Like, you know, there are other things. And this is what I'm saying. It's setting the tone and putting a bad taste in other people's mouths, like Canada, the UK, Spain wants no part of it. Like it's setting a bad tone for the world stage. And believe it or not, that's important for us. Yeah, we can have the best military in the world and, this, that, and the third, and you can say that. But, here we are 8 days in. It's like, okay, you have the best military in the world to what? Kill a whole bunch of civilians? Good job for a regime that you feel like is already not all the way put together. So it's like, all right, clear them out then. At what point is anybody going to say enough's enough? We have to every time make it into a humanitarian crisis every single time. Whoever is speaking right now, why would Spain be in Iran? Spain wouldn't be in Iran, but Spain has come out and said like they wanted no parts of it, that they think the war is illegal, much like China did, because it's an international like point of contention now. You have to understand the nuclear weapons are a fool's game. Oh my God. Just like stocks and bonds. What's really important: soil, water, food. But that won't matter for 15 years. 15 years of beautiful mess. No, honestly and truly, like I agree with this completely. Like nuclear power, although like it's good to have if you want to be the best, and especially like a country and a nation like the United States. But honestly and truly, um, I was watching something about there was this plant that happened in Pennsylvania. This was like in the 70s or something along the lines. And essentially there was a nuclear power issue or spillage or something. And like people in the town were severely ill and they tried to cover it up. And it was only because a lot of people didn't really even understand nuclear power was the core, it was this and it was that. And they were trying to get away from, having to use fossil fuels and, they didn't want the nuclear plant or nuclear energy industry to die so quickly. And so everybody kind of covered it up. Children were sick and elders, you know, were unalived and all these different things. I should look it up. It was a town in PA though. And I think that you're right in understanding like when you have so many of these nukes and you have so much of this power that's almost like you think that you are in control, but one false move, one false, improper storage, one bad day and it's raining on it or whatever, and it's a kaboom. What difference does it make when people don't even have drinking water? Like we're in here, in Jersey, and it's like, damn, the tap water, what's going on with the tap water? We have real needs for our infrastructure on basic things, y'all. Anybody, you know, everybody was when he was running, it was all about the power grid, all about this, and they can just plug in and the bridges and the this and that. Don't nobody want to spend money on that? And they were talking about the numbers. They've already spent $6 billion in just trying to, or not even trying to, but intercepting Iran's, drones. That's just on the drone. That's not even considering the amount of bombs that were dropped, right? Onto Iran. That was another billion in 8 days. In 8 days. And that's what he said. He said for a country that's a something trillion dollars in debt, one would think that they wouldn't want shit to go, prices to go up. That's what the Iranians said. Y'all go look at them, and I wish I should drop it. I'm gonna put it in my community chat. They started this war in 1979. Iran was in a war and engaged in war for 12 years. Like anytime we're involved in the Middle East, it's never a sweep. That's what he said. He said this is not Venezuela. Right? These people have a different like, I don't want to say pedigree, but like grit on them. They got a different way of being. They have a different way of doing. I don't want to call it spiritual narcissism, but it's something very close. To be honest, I think people hate on Trump so much, and yeah, I don't. He's a good person, but honestly, he's not the only problem. It's the systems. Yes, he's a part of the system, but he's still not the only problem. I completely agree, Brittany. I agree with you 100%. He's not the only problem. It is the system. It is how much we are in bed in other countries, with other countries. I think it has a lot to do with um, just our overall, like the way of politicking. He feels like I'm just going to go out here and pop out and do whatever I want to do. I don't care. I'm not going to go through proper channels. And the Democrats are still playing the congressional game while he's over here in the Middle East starting wars. Guys, make sure we're liking this video. Let's like the video. I'd appreciate a super chat, support your girl, help your girl out, support the channel, stick around. If you're new here, consider subscribing. We talk about popular topics and hot topics in a way that helps us reshape and reframe our paradigm. Okay. Thank you for the like. I see you coming in with the like. I appreciate that. I appreciate those who follow directions. Okay. Make sure we're liking the live. Send your girl a gift. Okay. If you're enjoying the content. And let's get into it. Spain just came out and let us use their bases, but we don't know. That was the UK. I mean, not unless it's changed. Because the UK we were using their bases and they were going to send like a some sort of like aircraft, but they were moving they were moving their feet with it. And then Trump kind of like hinted at the fact that he didn't want to use it anymore. But then they also said something along the lines of like, people have the right to, like, they're doing a lot of like pity patty stuff. Because honestly, I don't like, the relationship hasn't been great. Like there's still a working relationship, but you can tell there is some discord, honestly. Um it's a lie. He just wants status of being able to say it's more time and he can do whatever he wants so that he can possibly fulfill his car in his life, which is not impossible because let me see if I can find you. I can't find it. The only reason China is involved because they're taking cheap oil from those people. They're taking advantage of. Oh yeah, I agree with this completely. But also too, like again, going into the psychology of people and their culture, China comes from a long, long, long history and of domination and reigning supreme ancient way of living. And I read something about China before about them feeling that they are the center of the world, and every dynasty and ancient you know regime always wants to go back to the glory days, right? And I believe that they still hold that sense of pride within themselves. Um Secretly, it's not like overt, but like there's a sense of I don't want to say nationalism, but there is a sense of a different level of pride, like old energy from the Chinese. And again, also too, like don't underestimate the power of humiliation. A lot of times like these countries, look at Russia, like, going through certain aspects of life, and after the Cold War, and beating the Germans, and then eventually fall into the German, like there's so many things that happens to a country and the camaraderie, and then you see really extreme and radical groups come out of that because they want to kind of restore the old way, restore the motherland. Let's restore the this. Let's restore. I mean, the same is happening in America. Make America great again, right? And people fail to realize too, America is a very, very, very new country in comparison to somewhere like a China or what used to be the Soviet Union. Um, all things are possible with guidance, but this guy is flying blind. As someone who works in a nuclear facility, if a nuke's drop, I'm gonna put my feet up. I wouldn't want to be alive after the boom. Honestly, yeah, yeah, I'm with you. And just from what the very limited knowledge I know from um even understanding like nuclear power and what it would actually look like. Um Cuba is next. Yeah, Cuba is next, and I saw, like, a lot of videos of them, like, protesting in Havana. There was, like, a 12-hour or has been a 12-hour blackout, and they are literally in the streets banging, like, pots and pans and, in protest to their government and their regime, and, keeps talking about Cuba in that way, and, like, hopefully we'll be able to go to Cuba next, and da 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 da, this, that, and the third. And literally, I saw the video and I saw some of the footage, and I'm like, ugh, just imagine how desperate a situation has to be where the only thing that you can do is go grab a damn pot and pan out your kitchen and bang it on the cement outside. There's nothing left to do but go in your house and bang pots and pans in the middle of a dark street with all of your neighbors out and just making a whole bunch of noise. When you think about that shit, and I know it's hard to think about because again, we're in America or in countries that don't face or have those type of issues. But when you think about that, it's unbelievable, and I've traveled outside of the country, and I've seen how people live in different lives, and I think this is possibly why I think about it in terms of 1,200 people. 1,200 people in 8 days, guys. No, and nobody is like, wow, that's a lot of, and it's like we're so desensitized to thank you for the gift. I missed it. I don't know who sent it. Thank you. I appreciate you. Um, we're so kind of just desensitized to it, right? That it's just like, okay, whatever. Miklo. Yes. Thank you, Miklo. Um, I appreciate you. Um, I don't know. I just feel that it's unbelievable. So when I was staying out of the country, I remember like we didn't stay at like a resort. We had to stay at like a little, I don't know, like a hotel, like not brothel, but it was like a hotel-ish, whatever. And they were bringing around the water like every day. Like, every day they would bring around like 2 gallons of, like, you think of like the water gallon that you have in your office or something, Deer Park, and you like flip it over. And so they're bringing around 2 or 3 of these things for myself and the people who I was traveling with. and you're using the water to cook, you're using the water to brush your teeth, you're using the water to wash your face, you're using that water for drinking water, you're using that water for like just the basic whatever, you know what I mean? You're only using the water that's coming out of the tap to flush your toilet and wash your hands. And even that is kind of like, oh, well, if you have a cup of water, don't wash your hands on with that. You know what I mean? Because you touch your face, you touch your eye. Well, I remember we were in this like condo-ish, right? And there was a family that was next door. And these were a real family who actually lived there. And so we had three that and we were like paying guests. And so they gave it to us first. And I remember we were all like, let's just give them like one now so that way they can start their day. It was like a regular family, a mom and some children, maybe an uncle was there or something. And damn, I'm thinking about that now. Like I just thought that was so like listen, we paid to be there. Of course you're going to get your guests together. We were Americans, right? They're going to be like, yeah, fuck that. We about to be making sure y'all cool because we want y'all to stay. We had a beautiful time, right? We really did enjoy the island. But the fact that, there were kids there and they saw like us getting the water first, something that they obviously needed to start their day, right? And I was just like, it didn't really feel too good. Like even receive, like, damn, I will never forget that. And I just feel that, so much is happening in the world and we're so disconnected as people, as humans who are here living and working and surviving and doing shit like, moving and grooving into the next day, into the next moment. And there are people who are so severely impacted. And it's like, yeah, oh well, so what? Trump's the fucking man. 1,200 people died, y'all. Um, yeah. Nuclear is not like that anymore. They're small reactors. They're on every single ship um, that you've ever been on a cruise. Okay, good to know. Um, I would argue that the U.S. needs education more than infrastructure. Child, me too. Okay, infrastructure then education next, or education first, so they can figure out what they need to do, and the kids can actually work it. I agree with that completely, Dennis. Completely. The dumpster wants to be king of the world. I mean, and people are just sitting back watching them, letting them do it, And I think that like even some of the other like the ambassador in Iran, like he was kind of like, yeah, Trump, well, your plan A didn't work. You said you was going to come in, it was going to be easy, and you were going to get me out of here, and it was going to be done. Um, but it didn't happen. So plan B, what's plan B? Because that's probably not going to work either. Like that's inciting. That's fighting words. Okay. To somebody like Trump. Yeah, well, if you want to come over to Iran, well, come on then. Hello, excuse me. That's the thing. Like these, keep in mind, like these are the people, and I'm not trying to sound rude or xenophobic or anything. Like these are the same people who will strap a bomb onto them and go ahead with it. You feel what I'm saying? Like these are the same kind of people, y'all. This is a difference in like culture. Um, war for Iran, oil same as is for Venezuela oil, yeah. And that's why he said this is not Venezuela. The United States is sanctioned over 17 nuclear mini reactors. Yeah, Harrisburg, PA. Most of our families have high cancer. I was born and raised there. I left at 17 when I graduated and never moved back. Oh wow, Tracy. Yeah, is that where I was talking about? Harrisburg. Yeah, and it was called like 3 Mile Island or something. Yeah, yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about with that nuclear plant. The facility had an incident. And so we have all of this capability and power. And it's like, y'all, the world is already sick. The world is already suffering. Hello. We're already having this weird ass extreme weather. If you're on the East Coast, like, hello, girl, what are we talking about? 8 billion, low key low. Um, Yeah, it's almost like there's nothing left of what the United States has started out as. Yeah, and then also too with the switch of people not using stepping away from Visa and going into their own central banking. That's something to be said. Again, it's leaving like yeah, if you have all of this power, right? And people who truly have power don't wield it in this way. People who feel powerful don't wield power in this way, guys, for a fact. The reason to tap water is all messed up is because the Democrats take your tax money and use it for their own benefit. Jose Perez, I'm gonna tell you something right now, baby. Let me tell you something real quick and real good. Democrats definitely, definitely have messed up historically and most recently. They got it wrong, big time, big time. Now, what I will say is, um, this thing that's happening with engaging in this illegal war and doing things off of a whim and even them having congressional hearings about Netanyahu's um, influence on this war, right? Which that just happened. Well, why did because we heard that Netanyahu said they wanted to go to war and so Trump went for it. That was on the congressional hearing 4 or 5 days ago. Okay, and that's not for me. That's what happened. And so there is a concern about like the Democrats definitely messed up. They have messed up. And in my opinion, they are still messing up because why are we still talking about him and not doing anything? Y'all still want to go down in no King's Day and everything else. Like I just cannot. I cannot. But this is also very harmful. This is also very harmful. You have to see that. America started as a town, child, less than a town, a colony. You ain't lying. You right. I mean, a small group of people of outcasts and misfits. I mean, for sure, we didn't expect everybody Superman to be right, but this guy is making it like his own personal vendetta. It's disgusting. I agree with this completely. Yeah, there's literally crap coming out of the Platonic River because Potomac River because in Maryland never fixed their water systems. Right, right. I believe it. And well, Potomac is a very, very rich county, though. Why would they not fix it? Just remember who is the cause of the instability in the Middle East and what country was the reason for the regime to Iran to take place. I mean, Iran was not perfect, right? Iran was not perfect to its citizens. Iran was not fair in a lot of ways. Make sure we're liking the live. Send your girl a gift or a super chat. Okay. Let's like the live, send a gift in a super chat. Um, but I do think that when we have those kind of conversations about the way that they treat their citizens, about the way that they treat the people of Iran and everything like this, like the live guys, it's enough of us in here. The like should be up, babe. Every now and then people need a little directive. Um, I feel that they always try to circle back to what America has done, right? And what America currently does to their own people. They say it. A lot of people talk about and point to the fact that when there was the Iranian hostage situation, they let go of like the women because they said, women are, it's a part of their religion. And then they let go of a lot of the black people, the black Americans, because they were like, oh, yeah, well, they're already oppressed enough. No bullshit. They said, well, they already oppressed enough. And I know how Americans treat their own citizens. So I know that they wouldn't use them as informants and they wouldn't be, um, you know, military or service agents and things of that nature. So the way that we can look at them and how they treat their citizens is the same way that they can kind of look at us and be like, well, look at how you treat your citizens. Right. Um, Whatever. Miklo, what do you mean say the country? I want to know what you mean by that. And the old Republicans are out and we got rid of them. This is a whole new Republican Party. If you notice, most black men are joining. There are a lot of black men that are joining the Republican Party. And I want to just say this too. There's a difference between like the MAGA movement and true Republican and conservative movements. I don't believe that most Republicans are in agreement with this. There's a difference between MAGA and Republican. And I'm going to continue to say that because I don't believe that just because a person is a Republican that they are inherently MAGA because what he's doing is beyond Republican politics. Okay? If you're MAGA for sure. But even then he could revoke if you say anything against him. There are plenty of Republicans, right, who are Christian, who are faith-based, right, who don't believe in this at all. And the old Republican, okay, I swear to the whole United States of America is a bunch of zombies. You know, the biggest trend right now is, oh my gosh, did anybody remember in Epstein trials? That's important too. Ugh. This honestly, the Iran war is a good way to wash out the Epstein files. I tell you that. Trump is sick in the head, and no, he is not a good person at all. Shows the degradation of the kind of worldwide ridiculous game they're playing, and also too, like um being so removed changes like how you think and view things, right? Like this guy isn't like a politician who worked at his local senator's office and grew up and was, by the bootstrap, which is typically what Republicans go for, right? This is a guy that comes from privilege, you know. He's like, oh, the Democrats are making up new words, affordability. Like, what the fuck? Affordability is a new word? Chat, is affordability a new word? Or did you know that word before him? Or before the Democrats said it? Okay. Not directions, girl. You are demanding. You think so? I'm very straightforward. People need directives. People need direction. Honestly and truly. We were just talking somebody in two things, two what you call them ago, chats ago, somebody said Americans are zombies. No lie. People need to be like, okay, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is what I need. I need you to do this. I need you to like the video. Subscribe if you like this type of commentary. Okay. And if you want to send a love donation, it's greatly appreciated. There's nothing wrong with that. You gotta be direct. And we if we get anything from Trump, we gonna get that, ain't we? Damn. Okay, he's going for what he want. He said, "Yeah, this is what I want. Yeah, this is what I want." Hey, right tops. Instability in Iran has been going on since Carter administration. I agree. Iran has been unstable, yeah, for a minute. Um, Again, they were in a 12-year war. You should see the people in California that are from Iran that are celebrating. Yeah, they are. I saw it. Oh, I saw it. In the streets, waving flags, super excited. Because, I mean, if they were from Iran and then they came to America and they were under oppressed regime, I can see how they're like, yes, hell yeah, we made it out of here and good. The government is falling. But like the ambassador said, like, he thought that he was going to get us out of here. He did not. He said, you got the best military in the world, and it was going to be a clean sweep. This is not Venezuela. We're on day 8. You did not. If you want to fight, we can fight. I'm not calling for a truce. I'm not asking for a ceasefire. You engaged in this illegal war. If more people are going to be unalived, whatever. He said, if you had any last words, and this is key, y'all. He said, if you have any last words or you have any words for Donald Trump, what do you want to say? And he said, let's not have too many more, like, civilians, stop unaliving our people, is what he said. Stop unaliving our people. And that to me is like, given indication that like he knows and understands that he's going to fight back and he has some backing, but obviously they can militarily like overpower them. But if the regime is already kind of like doing and spraying down protesters, it's like, all right, well, if you're going to have the what's the expression, like you give the people the rope and you let them hang themselves. And optically, 1,200 people in 8 days is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy, y'all. Yeah, but Spain said no to Trump using the Spain as in there. Yeah, they didn't want to be involved. I don't blame them. Yeah, America definitely has committed some crimes against humanity. People who blame presidents for things are amazingly uneducated. People who make comments like this are just not up to speed with what's happening. Because if they were in negotiations, why attack? And even more people are chanting, yeah, all across the US. And what do you think is going to happen if that number goes from 1,200 to 2,500 to 5,000 of civilian deaths to the neighboring towns? What does it, how are we informing other people who may not even be impacted directly? That I can see why they say the barbaric Americans, like how we call them barbaric, right? Because it's not just us in Iran watching, the whole world is watching. And we're supposed to be a superpower. We can only be a superpower when it comes to military? Or is it to also our ethics? And is it also to our humanity and the ability to extend grace? If you are a person who could fight real good and you know that you can beat everybody up, right? And you know that can't nobody beat you. You could have been a boxer, but you ain't never get your hands registered, right? And somebody smaller than you or whatever does something wrong, whatever, you try to correct them. Are you going to really beat them up to a point where they can't even recover and are permanently stunted or damaged? You might do some corrective action, right? A little backhand, pop, pop, pop. But you ain't going to go crazy to the point where you're never like they can't come back from it. You're kind. I will be back. I need to learn about this stuff. We're in a serious war now. Yeah, thank you. Make sure you subscribe. The Pentagon makes all the decisions and tells the president what to do and what to say. Please, he just dismissed all of the journalists out of the Pentagon. Trump is not a man that's playing by the rules. What are we talking about? And he's please. Um, we all got to get that oil. Okay. Korean girl, it's not that serious. I mean, it's serious because we just said 1,200 people, majority of children, Israel, when this is just what they're reporting, guys, we don't really know for sure. I just saw something that said that Israel had attacked somewhere in Lebanon, which was supposed to be safe, but they said apparently there was a high value target somewhere in the Ramada. And I don't even want to talk too much about them because the moment you get to talking about them crazy, it's like, oh girl, here you go. And that's something else that needs to be. I don't even want to get into it. Um, yep, he decides nothing. Sure, I'm sure that there are major, bigger powers at play. I'm not negating that at all. U.S. cannot make this war. No, but how long can Iran last? Is what I want to know. If they got Russia fake feeding them details, which I don't really halfway believe that. I don't believe anything that Vladimir Putin says, and China, which I know China will capitalize. China will capitalize off of anything if it's involving a couple of dollars, and they can sell some of them pews and everything else like this for sure, for a fact. The EU doesn't understand the EU, yeah. Iran's been giving problems since the Iran hostage crisis. Yes. Yeah. Iran has been an issue, but they had an agreement, and Trump didn't like it. And he said, no, we're going in. We think 2 more weeks? All right. We got 2 more weeks. So it's going to be over in 2 weeks. I'm going to I'm going to write that down in my book. Let's see. Um, yeah. China plans decades into the future. I agree. I think China got something serious. I mean, and most people feel this way, Juice. The orange collar is the only thing in between you and the Iranian regime. Have some gratitude. Y'all are funny in the comments. It's all about the oil and the main shipping routes. Yeah, he said he's not going to block that too, Anthony. He said he's not going to block the streets. But I also too think that outside of the oil, um, there is an expansion effort. I feel that nobody's really talking about, and I also feel that how can I say this? Mm, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let that one go. But if you catching the drift of what I'm saying, then you catching it. You should get Kamala to run for office again, Dennis. No, I don't think Kamala's gonna run again. Definitely not. Now the Democrats was dead ass wrong for putting his ass up there, propping his ass up there like that. No, that was crazy. I don't think Trump is scared. I watched some of his interviews recently. He seemed like he was tired. Talking about some sleepy Joe. It was kind of giving sleepy. He was sleepy. I ain't gonna lie. He seemed a little bit more tired, a little less enthused. Um, so we'll have to see. We talked about that new shield thing. That didn't really give too much excitement. Like, okay, he wants to do something to go, combat against the cartels. So you're trying to fight the cartels, right? You're then engaged in a war with Iraq or Iran. Oh God, don't even let me say Iraq, girl. Oof, that just made me. Oof, I take it back. I take it back. Not Iraq, y'all. Iran. Um, US is 38 trillion in debt, so he decided to start a never-ending war with a country that literally was in a war for 12 years, with a country whose ambassador just said the same thing. You would think with a country that's 20, you said $38 trillion in debt, that they would not want to do something like this. No, we do not want to negotiate, because every time we're trying to negotiate, the two times they have attacked us. No, I'm not calling for a ceasefire. I do not need to go to America because I have plenty of US bases here to attack. And then when he did the interview in his native tongue, the translation said, if Americans think that we will surrender, that is a dream that will go to their grave. I am not making that shit up. Y'all go look at the interview yourselves. That's what he said, and that's and again, we're engaging in war with people who understand life in a different way. Okay, they just do. They'll give it all up for the love of Allah. And blow the smithereens. Okay, most people again don't even want to are complaining about not having Chick-fil-A on a Sunday. All right. We get pissed off when the ice cream machine ain't working at McDonald's. Target didn't have your lotion. Destroy. Has anybody been looking at the quality of groceries lately? Terrible. Terrible. You know, we can't we're that's the level we are. We don't even think about those things. I want you to explain what you mean. What do you mean by that, Shane? Okay. Nuclear cruise ships to stop. Uh-huh. Late night. Oh wow, that's a lot of comments coming in. People in love with a politician is a bit too much. Guys, make sure we're liking the live. I'm not gonna be able to see like the live. Send your girl a love donation, a super chat gift is greatly appreciated. Democrats are trapped in the wrong body, please. He was against we was back. Joe Biden still hold the record for most money taken from Israel while being in Senate. Wow, he hasn't been in the Senate since 2008. He admitted himself that he ordered those to be okay. Well, yeah. Why are y'all talking about Biden and Trump is literally doing what he wants to do? I am pro-American as well. I am pro-American. I'm also pro-life. And I'm not talking about abortions. I'm talking about pro human life. Exactly. It's very easy. Thank you for liking the live. I see those hearts coming in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Gratitude. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Um, super people cycling. Super people. Yeah. Trump has a higher IQ than most of you clowns on here. About him knows how to play chess better than you clowns ever thought of playing checkers. Straight up. Straight up drops mic. 1,200 people died yesterday in 8 days, and we're talking about a hypothetical game of chess. Drops mic. Thomas Meyer, everybody. Woohoo! Let's give it up. Let's all get our tomatoes ready for this great man, Thomas Meyer. Woohoo! David O'Malley is next. David O'Malley is next. Let's all get him revved up. Let's all get him revved up. I don't think it's about jealousy. Democrats are jealous because with TDS, what is TDS since 20? If you're a Trump supporter at this point, I would keep that shit to yourself before you. Oh my God, y'all. Anybody got any questions? Anybody want to wrap it up for us? Baron 2032. That's it. That's it right there. Mm-hmm. A few months ago, Iranians asked President Trump for help. I mean, they were in negotiation. It was a working relationship. Ryan Cox. I think I know you, right? You know me, Ryan? Because I feel like I know you. Ryan, I know you. Ryan, I think I missed you. David, you must be monarchy. It's lasted for 50 years. If were that easy, there wouldn't be a 9/11. This right here, this right here, this right here. There are so many people, again, if you know anybody who served in the military, Kuwait is like, oh yeah, I'm in Kuwait, right? Like nobody even thinks that it's going to be dangerous. Nobody thinks about anything like this. They're bombing hotels in Dubai. Like, come on, guys. Like, there are still people, 6 Americans have already been unalive due to this war. Okay. They were just returned home today, you know. Yeah, I think they call it like the honorary transfer. 6 Americans, 11 Israelis, 1,200 Iranians. Okay, 1,200 Iranians. I think he's trying to. He's. I think he's trying to destroy. I think he's trying to destroy people's ability to survive. Honestly, are you saying like LDS as in like Latter Day Saints? Oh my goodness. Guys, make sure we're liking the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Joy Lady Girl from Runaway, where we have culture, conversation, and community. We talk about popular topics, hot topics in a way that helps us reshape and reframe our paradigm. So if you're interested in any of those things, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, send your girl a love donation. Okay, it keeps me going and it keeps the things flowing, especially when we're talking about topics like this. I watched an interview with the Iranian ambassador. I watched the interview that he did in English, and I watched the one that he did directly towards the Arabic countries in his native tongue. Both were very similar, but carried different energies. He's basically saying Iran is not going to back out of this war. Donald Trump, you already said that you were going to be able to come in here and sweep us down. You did not do that. And in fact, everything is still running and our systems are still in place. We're going to go through our process of burying the supreme leader, and then we're going to select and elect someone else. Now, a lot of these people do a lot of fibbing, y'all. Like he could just be saying it and don't mean it worth a damn. But he did say that if Americans think that we're going to surrender, if Americans think that we're going to surrender, they're better off knowing that they can take that dream to their grave, is what the man had said. And when questioned about bombing or attacking other Arabic countries, or surrounding neighbors, he said, hey, listen, I don't want to fight with my neighbors. I don't want to fight with the neighbors. I am trying to target American bases. They have American bases there. And so I'm going to target them. And he said, well, what about the, casualties of war, the civilian deaths, da, 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 da. And he said, yeah, well, you don't say anything about the war, the casualties of war when it's coming and stemming from the Americans. They started this. That's his positioning. He was very blunt. He was kind of curt, and he didn't give a fuck. He didn't seem scared or shaken at all. At all. Iran is bigger than Iraq. Oh God, don't say that. Ugh. Iran is more powerful than Trump thought. I think Iran has more, but Iran can get people behind him, behind them more, because especially Iran was building long range missiles that could reach USA. We had to act. This is not true. This is not true. Um, Maybe long range missiles that could reach Israel. Certainly not the US. Right. Right. Come on, JCC. The most tyrannical country and government in the face of the earth. America don't own the whole world. All what has happened in the history in the Western European made up lies to destroy other countries. Yes. Yeah. I don't think all Trumpers are stupid. I think that you ever think things are getting just so bad that eventually it has to turn good, they still have hope. And I get it. I used to be a hopeless romantic too. They say I'm hopeless, 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 hopeless. As a penny with a hole in it, penny with a penny with a penny with a hole in it. I miss Sleepy Joe. Well, listen, I can fill in. I'm Sleepy J. Nice to meet you. Trump is not scared. His polling numbers over the Iran conflict are over 95%. Whoop de doo. 95%. Whoop de doo. The polling numbers are over 95%, and 1,200 people have perished off the face of the earth. Whoop de doo, damage. Way to go, pal. Nobody cares about life anymore. Nobody seems to care about life. Period, JCC. Come on, don't be stupid. American have moving countries. No country should be over the other people's country. Yes, American government is a liability to peace and harmony to mankind. I mean, like, now let's be clear now, because the Iranian government was terrorizing them folks a little bit. They was terrorizing them, but that's their country, okay? And they always turn it towards Americans and what they do and how everything like this and so I agree with you in the sense of they have a right to control their country as they see fit, as long as they're not committing crimes against humanity. And to a degree, so does America commit crimes against humanity. It's like, who's going to be the one that's going to decide um, if I should step in? Like, again, no country should be bigger than the next. Our intelligence know better than you. They were building long range missiles. Oh my gosh. And the intelligence talked to you, David. They let you know that. And that's not true. They had uranium. The uranium was at 60% enrichment. You need 90% enrichment in order to build a nuclear weapon. She is boring. Yeah, right back at you, pal. Yeah, our intelligence income from the Pentagon literally just came out of Trump's ass. No, no bullshit. No bullshit. I agree. Illegal immigration is not okay. I agree with that, Zardy. Three-man Delta team could take care of this over lunch. What are we doing is avoiding reptilian baby eaters. Ooh. Somatic soul, I like you. Ding, 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 ding. Yahtzee, we have a motherfucking winner. A three-man Delta team could go in and take care of this. But see, the thing about it is, and what's different between now, see, you're kind of waking me up a bit. Thank you for this. Venezuela is very different. Fighting the cartel is very different than fighting these countries or in the Middle East. And the main thing is because there is a religious factor behind what they're doing, right? Sure, it's corruption and corruption's all over. But when you feel like you are God's chosen people, when you feel like you were in the Holy Land, in the Promised Land, and if you become a martyr, you're promised all of these different things. There's a different component. These people fight for long. They're bred and born to fight. Venezuela, those people are generally oppressed and just ran by cartels. And so to bring in a three-man, Delta team could surely get the supreme leader out. They didn't have to do everything they did. I have no doubt that that could have happened that way. But how these people and regimes work, when there are, I don't want to say they're a terrorist group, but I'll just say they're oppressive. In these circles, you take one boss out, another boss forms literally the next in 2 seconds. So that's the only thing. And we've seen that the global war on terrorism has shown us that you can't fight terrorism with just terrorizing the other groups of people that's going to watch you unalive 1,200 civilians in 8 days. Okay? That's not how you stop terrorism, by terrorizing. That doesn't work. Women talking about war, laughing my ass off. Oh no, laughing my fucking ass off. Wow. 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 Mm. I guess you have no women who ever been active duty in the military in your family, Daniel. Amazing. How American and patriotic of you. Wow. I feel bad for Iran, honestly. Honestly, I do too. And its civilians. I really do. I really feel bad for them. And the 1,200 people who've already perished. I really feel bad for them. Iran nuclear plant is demolished. Checkmate. Hey, all the ladies in Iran, I got room at my house. Oh my God. Iran is a Muslim country. They don't want the Lord to help them. They have a law. Well, Allah means God in Arabic. Wild thing. That's all it means, brother. Um, what y'all talking about in the comments? I'm gonna get caught up. Try 6%. At least we stopped the flow of drugs from Venezuela. Who said that? Who said that? How can we prove that? Fentanyl still in these streets heavy. What are we talking about? A sexist guy named Daniel. Oh my God, a woman talking about war. Wow. Yeah, Venezuela was about the BRICS nation. Um, had to keep them petrodollars. Yeah, terrorists is involving fear. No, it is. It is. It's involving and it's evoking fear. I saw that flight that was just landed, and there was National Guard going in, and it was coming out of Nashville. That is how terrorism works, right? We get paranoid. We can't enjoy public spaces, and it's already kind of seeped in. Um, oh my God, ball striker Bandito. Oh wow. Why don't you come up and educate us something? We are in Iran for greater Israel, child. I don't know. They're saying we don't have our facts straight. So basically, I wanted to come up here to see how long y'all think that Iran will be able to last. We got 2 weeks. I'm gonna come back in 2 weeks. I'm going to come back in 2 weeks and I'll be following this very closely. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you for those who sent me a love donation, sent me a like, who have engaged, whether it was positively or negatively. I hope you are well. Okay. Wherever you are under the sound of my voice. And when you go ahead and turn on your tap water, flick your light switch, grab your little trinkets out of Target or your Starbucks on the way to work, just remember 1,200 people have already been unalived in 7 days. And so let's be grateful. Let's be kind. Let's be nice to one another. If you are an American, be kind to one another. Shit is already going left. All right. That's all I have for you. Okay. That's all I have. That's all I have. That's all I have in this moment. Stick around, subscribe so we can continue to get into the things. As always, I'm sending you a much love and much light, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, guys.